Hello and welcome to World Talks. I'm Diana Skaya. In the wake of President Zelenskyy's recent meetings in Washington and London, Europe's security dynamics are under intense scrutiny. Now, the contentious encounter between Zelenskyy and President Trump has raised questions about the stability of Western alliances and the future of support for Ukraine. Now, joining me now on TVP World here to discuss all of this and these pressing concerns is Vaidotas Malinionis, Managing Director at the National Defense Foundation. Sir, welcome to the program. So glad to have you here.
Good evening.
Now, France and the United Kingdom have proposed a partial one-month truce between Russia and Ukraine. I mean, this is, of course, aimed at easing tensions, to try to avoid ground fighting. Now, Keith Starmer announced that Europe is going to form a coalition of the willing to safeguard this proposed ceasefire. How do you assess this?
Well, first of all, it's good that European nations reacted, yes, and the meeting on Sunday demonstrated that they are not postponing everything anymore, because Sunday is a weekend, and it's a good sign. So, which means that rise of sense of urgency, which is badly needed, is on the right level. And proposal to have a coalition of willing, of course, is very rational, because we know that not all countries in Europe, like Hungary or Slovakia, are ready probably to join the same, project. So the coalition was willing is very welcome, and beside that, announcements, for example, by the UK that they are ready to provide for Ukraine additional 5,000 rockets to defend their skies against enemy rockets and the aircrafts. It's also very, very good sign. Plus, also, of course, additional injection from Europe to Ukrainian defense. But that's nevertheless, it's of course not enough, but the beginning is really good, because let's remember that in Europe, we have frozen assets of Russia, which is approximately 300 billion, which can be used. And I think we should find a way how to use. Plus, also there is a good sign that Norway is also considering to employ 1.7 trillion funds what we have to assist to Ukraine. Does it mean that they will allocate all funds to all those money to Ukraine, but they can employ those money to help Ukraine. So it shows that in Europe we have really big power, a lot of wealth, but what still now was missing, of course, is we are talking about political will, because since full-scale invasion, we already have 3 years anniversary, and fourth years it has begun, but we still, haven't launched defense industries on enough level, and so we are, our decisions are very lagging.
Vaidotas, let me ask you this. I mean, you mentioned here frozen Russian assets. I mean, Poland strongly supports the idea of being able to use those of seizing those Russian assets, but there does seem to be a lack of consensus among European countries on this matter. Now, what are their main concerns about preventing a collective decision on this issue? I mean, how is it going to impact Europe exactly? I mean, Europe's long-term strategy against Russia in the future.
Well, I think right now the most important thing what is needed is unification of Europe. Yes, and now still fighting and discussing is already too late. We need to have to come up with the decisions and solutions. So for the discussions time, I think, is over. Yes. And because we don't know, and the future is very unclear. So we don't know what will be America's support for Europe. So there are a lot of ambiguities and doubts. So I think This is not a red flag for Europe. I think it's a last call, and we should finally unite and act together and act fast. So I don't know how, but we should persuade somehow our European friends, other countries which are, still have deep considerations. They should show example. Poland is very good example. Your leaders are very proactive and they are offering good solutions. So we have to step forward and unite. I just would like to remind you Franklin's quotation: if we will not hang out together, we will hang separately. Most assuredly, we will hang separately. So this is very time to act.
All right. So, I mean, you're talking about unity here. A couple of things I do want to ask you here, again, regarding to the summit in the United Kingdom. I mean, some Baltic states were quite unhappy after Starmer failed to invite those leaders to the Ukraine summit. I'm talking here about Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. Despite their strong support for Kiev, why do you think this happened? Why were they excluded from this summit?
Yeah, first of all, not only Baltic states, but also Greece, I think, also was missing. And plus, they invited Turkey, a representative from Turkey. But of course, this is very sensitive because from the history, we know that small countries, sometimes their fate can be decided by stronger powers. And yes, it is sensitive. Although our, president and his office participated online, which is okay, but we don't know. I'm not sure if they were allowed to participate in all discussions. So this is really sensitive, and Starmer, of course, apologized, and he sent the message that this will never happen again. But the real reason, I don't know why they were not invited. So this is really sensitive.
So let me ask you this. I mean, Poland has been praised for its high defense spending. I mean, if we're talking about GDP here, especially in comparison to other NATO members, how do you think that other European countries can do slightly the same in order to help shape their influence when it comes to regarding the war in Ukraine? And do you think that they're really, I mean, you are talking about this unity. Do you think they're going to be able to really do it without the United States full support and full backing?
Well, actually, this option that United States cannot support is very, very real. And right now, what we can see, especially after the Zelensky's Ukrainian president meeting with American President Trump and his team, raised really enough level of sense of urgency, yes. And right now, UK took leadership, and I think discussions now this momentum should be used, and we should persuade those leaders in other countries which are still, considering how much resources they should allocate. Because I just repeat what I already said. This is not the red flag. This is a last call for Europe, and it all depends on us. And I think Europe has enough resources, enough, the people. We can defend ourselves. Of course, it takes time to prepare to defend.
And you're saying that this can
Yes.
happen without full U.S. support. Is this what you're saying?
Yeah, yes, I am saying, but it takes time. Right now, U.S. support is very important. Yes, in order to get the same level of defense, we probably it will take maybe 10 years because we need to develop our armed forces. Also, we should reconsider our nuclear deterrence. Concepts. What also French Macron was talking about already. Yes. So everything should be reconsidered. But I think we have enough tools and enough resources to defend ourselves. But only unification and political will is badly needed.
Vaidotas, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen is going to tomorrow send a letter to EU leaders outlining her plan on how to rearm Europe. What details can you possibly tell us?
Well, it is calculated that Europe should have 300,000 standing armed forces, yes, altogether. So, of course, it's a challenge, and in order to develop armed forces, we need time. And according to some estimations, that if Europe would like to be ready for any threat for the future, it takes maybe 10 years. And of course, we should raise our budgets. But also, we should remember that in Europe, we already have very experienced armed forces, which is Ukrainian armed forces. So investment in those forces, I think now is probably a very good solution. So we should not forget, and I know that Ukrainian side is also offering the same, that we should consider those forces as a European force, and that force can win, and at least they can defend themselves. So, and that is a very big and good shield for all Europe. So, investment into Ukrainian forces, I think, is has very good future.
Thank you so much, Vaidotas Malinionis, Managing Director at the National Defense Foundation, for being with us here on World Talks this evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the privilege.
And that completes this edition of World Talks. I'm Diana Skaya. Thanks for watching, and don't go away. News up next.